I hope that it wouldn't have to come to this, but unfortunately, no one seems to be talking about the occurring issues within Back 4 Blood. For those unaware, Back 4 Blood is a game specifically made by the ex-creators of the Left 4 Dead franchise. Needless to say, this got people such as myself and a few other still loyal fans of the brand quite excited. With a now open weekend on the horizon, most of us were waiting and hoping to God that we didn't have to go in for work, just so we can squeeze in a few hours. But lo and behold, my disappointment when I finally decided, alright, I have one day off, it's 3 days before the last day, maybe, just maybe, I'll actually be able to give it a shot. Much to my dismay, I was left with a very sour taste in my mouth. The first game I go into wasn't even a game, it was the in-game lobby, if you will, where you had to run around this training camp with little to no tutorial under your belt. You see a few exclamation marks here and there, it didn't quite feel right, and after about 5 minutes I managed to finally realize, oh, I have to go to this one tent, which is for some reason right on the other side of town entirely, and then finally get into a game. But it doesn't stop there. I attempted to once, twice, 3 times, nothing. I was just trying to do quick play in the normal mode with the normal difficulty, just trying to give it a shot, and it kept timing me out saying I had a connection error. This is normal for a beta game, so it wasn't something I wasn't used to. I saw something similar to when Overwatch originally came out, or even other games similar to this. So I said, okay, and let me try and hard reset the game. I hard reset it, came back, tried it again. I still had the same issue. That does not bode well for a game that you're meant to have an open weekend for, or rather an open week. I said, okay, let me try one of the other game modes. After a few minutes, boom, I'm put in the middle of a versus match where we're already losing. Joining midway through a game, not the worst thing humanly possible, because I can kind of see like the dynamics, the different powers and stuff like that, as well as in general kind of gather an idea of how the game is meant to progress. Except when you're the one zombie against 4 actual players and you're glitched inside of a ceiling. And I don't mean glitch like, oh haha, can't kill me. No, I physically couldn't leave the boundary of the ceiling as much as I tried, and at one point the other zombie with me, who eventually rejoined, was like, wait, can't you just respawn? Well, you see, I couldn't. And this basically meant that I had to sit there with my dick in my hand for the better part of 4 minutes until they eventually won the game. Not a great first impression to say the least, but still in early access. I'll close one eye, but I only have another eye remaining. Let's actually talk now about the gunplay in the game. And I don't mean, oh, like, woohoo, recoil and all that bullshit. No, I physically mean the gunplay. Within the game itself, you can find modifications for almost every single gun, at least from what I saw. This basically meant that you could, example, find scopes, silencers, even like a few stocks and grips. But there's another issue entirely. More specifically, this came about when I was using a shotgun, as I typically do, and I accidentally picked up an 8x scope. Needless to say, I didn't think this would work, but yeah. I ended up with a shotgun sniper, which had the effective range of a BB gun at 500 yards. Not exactly the most ideal thing. I opened up my inventory and I tried to drag it out. Unfortunately, this did not deattach the mod, but rather forced me to drop my weapon entirely. I quickly picked it back up before one of the scumbag teammates I had that would eventually leave would pick it up. I tried again. Nothing. Was I doing something wrong? Not to my recollection. But okay, it's an early beta, let's say they're going to be adding the feature to remove a mod at a later point, because I saw someone with a sniper and I was like, ah, shit. Maybe this isn't the greatest idea I ever had, but yeah, shit happens, people get over it, or so I hope. Apart from that, let's talk about the whole idea behind combat power, or rather the term I'm using similar to Pokemon Go. The guns in the games need to be constantly replaced, and this doesn't really have a reason. While you're in the game, you can essentially find guns out randomly in the wild, or you can buy them from the vendors in the safe houses, meaning the weird fuckers inside of the sofa forts which sell you supplies and they're constantly having PTSD. You can literally buy the same exact gun, but for some reason, the stats for it are different. But I can hear you say from the backline,
"But hey, won't you buying a new gun make you have better stats, make it more interesting? You know, maybe they have different mods or shit."
Yes, will tell me in the background, it could, except I want a reason. Why does having a rubberized grip, which I already have on my current one, somehow now give me plus 5% to my recoil, versus me having an 8x scope on my shotgun give me the effective range of throwing a banana out of the Eiffel Tower? I want a reason why. It's similar to example in Pokemon Go. If you catch the two same Pokemon, you can have different combat power. That's understandable, similar to what we've seen in the actual game. There's a reason for it. They have different evolutions, they're older, they're larger, but there is an actual reason given. Within Back 4 Blood, there was no reason given, and this really, at least for me, rubbed me the wrong way. Maybe it will be something they kind of touch upon, maybe it's something they won't, we'll see. Overall, the game in and of itself, it does not justify the €60 price tag. Yes, €60 currently, at least from where I live. That's essentially a AAA title from a company / indie team that, although being covered by Warner Brothers, I have not really seen or heard of them prior. Therefore, it would essentially be the equivalent of me paying €60 for Rust, although it's currently in its extremely broken state as it currently still is. We're paying €60 for one of the earlier versions of, Subnautica or another game similar to that. It doesn't justify it, especially with the limited content it currently has. Apart from that, okay, let's talk about the actual gameplay. The gameplay in and of itself isn't that hard. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Yes and no. Allow me to explain. Whilst I was playing, I ended up playing on my own, as I mentioned prior, and this basically meant that all the special infected would automatically focus me. I ended up with 3 AI comrades that would teleport around me constantly and try to save me. There was only one point where I was really in danger because the AI kept glitching and wouldn't focus the special infected, but even then I just got up, patched myself up, everything was fine. It wasn't really that much of an issue, but it's still an issue. Apart from that, most of the maps are very linear. The only one that I had a very large problem with was the shipwreck map. I got a tiny bit lost in it and there were a shit ton of special infected, but I instantly found a way to cheese it. I know, how strange, be you finding a glitch in a video game? La gasp. But all jokes aside, literally, I just blitzkrieg through the map, go to the end of the level. There are NPCs there with guns shooting the special infected without having to reload, and an LMG. I wonder, a shit ton of special infected? One LMG. You guys already know where this is going, I really don't need to explain it further. The game on its normal difficulty is piss easy. On harder difficulty, I don't know, I didn't get the opportunity to try it out, and honestly, I'm not quite sure I wanted to. With how buggy and how almost glitchy the matchmaking seemed to be, Even for a game that was literally being allowed to be played for free, having such an already small fan base seemed almost alien half the time. And this is with cross-play. For those unaware what cross-play is, it means if little Timmy over there is playing on a fucking PS4 and I'm playing on a PC, we can physically play together. Like, yay, this is something that will actually help us in future, but how don't you have players? Or is your matchmaking already this buggy? Something that needs to keep in mind there. As was shown prior in the recording, you saw a creature called an ogre. Something that wasn't seen within the Left 4 Dead franchise, but instead replaces the witch. For those unaware what the witch was, it was this extremely powerful NPC that you could startle, and it would essentially wipe out the person that startled it. It was a bitch to deal with, and most missions had given you bonus points if you don't startle it. There was a particular one, if I remember correctly, where you had to go through a cornfield that was littered with these witches. Unfortunately, this concept was removed from this game, maybe just for now, and instead we have this big fuck-off monster. No harm in that. The monster design in and of itself is interesting, but it stops being a zombie game. Strange concept, I know, we are still technically killing zombies, but instead we have this strange Goliath creature with weak points that we now have to kill. I wasn't aware we were playing some form of beat 'em up, mash 'em Final Fantasy bullshit, but hey, that's just me. Apart from that, a lot of the monsters that we've seen here are very similar to Left 4 Dead. We have the Charger, the Tank, the Spitter, the Smoker. A lot of them are very similar. They may have different names, but you can paint a third goal, doesn't mean I'm gonna buy it. It's the same fucking shit, honestly. But yeah, with all of that being said, I'm just gonna go over the pros and cons of the game as my final review. Pros. The game looks good. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, it looks like a game on the Atari. No, the game genuinely, surprisingly, looks good. It runs with almost minimalist specs because it's an almost 10-year-old rig. You can see that they do a lot of Left 4 Dead references, which plays to its strengths, at least for me personally. The gunplay was decent enough, just minimalistic complaints that I couldn't remove the mods. The maps are interesting, with different flares and small little features, which make it quite interesting to play in player versus player, as well as in general when you're playing player versus environment. Cons, and there's a lot of them. The Act 1 map gets confusing in certain regions, such as the boat level. The zombie dying in 1 to 2 hits with a majority of the guns honestly feels like it's a bit of a cakewalk on the normal difficulty, which is very accurate. And I noticed this even when I wasn't using the shotgun, zombies would go down literally with 1 melee attack at later points. A large lack of player base on their open weekend. I can't say for the life of me that doesn't seem like a red flag. The price doesn't justify the game as of this current point, and the fact that they're already accepting pre-orders worries me. So we'll see what time we'll say about that. The card building system, which is something I don't really want to touch upon because it can be its own separate video, in all honesty. It was such a pain in the ass to understand. To cut it short, imagine Hearthstone, but each card you get is a different buff, and you unlock new cards, and then you lose cards, and then you equip new cards. It's not explained at all. You kind of have to make your own sense of it. There are probably people that have already explained it better than I can ever do, so if you're interested in that, I guess we'll look elsewhere. There's little to no tutorial in the beginning. As I showed you, you're literally put in the camp, you see exclamation points, you don't even know where the hell you're meant to go. The audio is glitchy from time to time, with zombies being eardrum breakingly loud. I removed the game audio for you guys because at certain points, like, you're just going out of nowhere and then you just hear a random zombie across the entire map suddenly screech Not screech because it's running at you, just in general do a zombie noise, and it's eardrum piercingly loud. And this wasn't just for me, I had 2 spectators with me on Discord, and they both commented on this as well, so it wasn't just me. You can feasibly blitzkrieg your way through most of the levels with no punishment, even if you die from a special infected controlled by the AI. At the end of the day, one of your teammates will probably get you up, especially if you're moving as a team. You just rush through. You can easily cheese a majority of the levels with no repercussions. In conclusion, I can't recommend the game in its current state. If it was a €20 game, sure, by all means, hell, even €30. But €60 does not bode well for me. If I can pick it up on sale, maybe, but it's a genuine shame. I genuinely had really high hopes for this game. It's a large part of my childhood, a large part of who I am as a person, especially considering the ex-devs of Left 4 Dead are working on this. But yeah, it's nothing like Left 4 Dead, and I know there never can be anything like Left 4 Dead. But the way it's marketed and the way it's promoted makes it sound like it is. So if you're specifically going in with that mindset, you may want to double check, cause God knows you're gonna get your heart broken again. Only time can tell if this will be the next big zombie game, but I can truly say that another zombie game called World War Z was honestly much better at literally portraying Left 4 Dead 3. Using its strange engine of spawning almost thousands if not millions of zombies at a time without crashing your system was an interesting, almost mind-blowing scenario, and I really wish it was incorporated in this game. But sadly, more than likely the World War Z is going to be keeping this engine specifically for themselves, which then raises the question, why not play that game more? With the sequel coming out, I might actually pick it up, because it was quite fun. I got the first game for free via Epic, and it was generally really fun to play with my friends. So who knows? Turtle Rock Studio, this is not an attack on you if you're somehow seeing this. I doubt it, but if you're somehow seeing this, I am genuinely trying to help. I am genuinely trying to give you my 2 cents, because I want you to succeed. I want you to shape a new generation, and I want you, like every other indie company, to do well. This may not be the Left 4 Dead 3 that I personally want, but it's close enough. As of this current point, you're going to lose potential customers with your game if you physically can't get rid of it by literally giving the game for free. That's a problem. I hope to give this game another review, maybe in a few months, somehow I pick it up or something like that. But for now, I'm probably gonna go back to Left 4 Dead 2 or World War Z. All the footage shown is from the early stages of the game. It could change, it could not, I don't know. But I genuinely hope you found this informative, entertaining, and in general had a fun time. Take care everyone.